Well, detectives in Carroll County say reality star Wendy Osefo concocted a story so far from reality that she's now facing a string of felony fraud charges.
What if I told you that the reality star who built her entire image on success and perfection is now facing one of the biggest fraud scandals in Bravo history? Because the evidence investigators just uncovered completely flips her story upside down. This is the shocking truth behind Wendy Osefo's downfall. According to the account shared in the original text, a quiet day in Finnsburg took on new energy as curious neighbors gathered outside a home where Wendy was noticeably absent. Word spread quickly, with people discussing claims from authorities accusing her of involvement in fraudulent activity. If the narrative is accurate, it suggests that Wendy's public reputation may be facing a serious blow. Federal officials, as described in the text, have laid out information portraying an extensive scheme allegedly connected to Wendy and her husband. With a long legal process potentially ahead, the situation, at least as presented, appears far from simple. The passage points out an ironic twist. Wendy, who previously insisted on her innocence during a Bravo appearance, may have amplified the situation by speaking out. The text frames this as a reminder that sometimes staying silent can be a form of protection, and that attempts to control the narrative can sometimes backfire in unexpected ways.
It's an unfortunate situation, and right now I can't say too much, but I will say when the time is right, I will share my story with everyone, and for now they're just allegations, so we will continue to push forward. Okay.
In the account described, federal investigators are portrayed as almost unwavering in their confidence, as if they believe they've assembled a case against Wendy that leaves no room for escape or ambiguity. The way the narrative presents it, authorities seem convinced that every piece of evidence lines up squarely against her, and for them, the story appears neatly tied together. Whether that impression proves accurate remains to be seen, but the depiction itself is striking. It paints a picture of investigators who feel they've done their homework thoroughly enough that whatever counterargument Wendy may attempt to build won't carry much weight. For anyone familiar with how insurance disputes unfold, this part of the story may sound familiar. Insurance companies are notorious for scrutinizing every detail when they suspect a claim may not be legitimate. They will sift through timelines, receipts, digital history, transaction records, anything that can support their position. And according to the narrative here, they've shown no hesitation in doing exactly that. The implication isn't just that investigators think something is off, but that the insurance companies themselves seem prepared to push aggressively for what they believe the truth to be. That combination, federal involvement and corporate determination, sets a very tense stage. Layered on top of the legal complication is another element the story emphasizes: Wendy's attempt to distance her situation from her husband's. According to the narrative, she has reportedly argued that being linked to his legal issues, whatever shape those issues take, only hurts her own chances of a fair outcome. Whether this separation is meant to protect her, protect him, or simply create strategic breathing room, it adds another wrinkle to an already complicated moment. It turns what could have been a unified defense into something resembling two diverging paths. And for outsiders watching from afar, this move has sparked even more speculation. After all, when two people jointly connected to the same investigation begin trying to separate their cases, observers can't help questioning what that means. And those observers? They are plentiful. People watching the case from the sidelines, especially fans tuning into the current season, have become fixated on the timeline. One of the most confusing elements, as the narrative highlights, is figuring out when the alleged events actually took place relative to filming. Did the tension start creeping in before cameras rolled? Did things explode in the middle of production? Or did the fallout only begin after filming wrapped? Each of these possibilities paints a different picture of Wendy's on-screen persona and how much she may have been weighing behind the scenes. This timeline fog has opened the door to a whole landscape of unanswered questions. For viewers who have watched Wendy present herself with composure, confidence, and a strong academic background, it is hard to reconcile that public persona with the turmoil depicted in the narrative. People are trying to place each piece of information on a mental timeline. Were there signs? Did we miss clues? Was there something off during episodes that we only understand now in hindsight? The fan discussions have become less about the legal specifics and more about the human element. What people think they do or don't know about her character, her marriage, her decisions, and her relationship to the rest of the cast. Part of the fascination comes from the broader Bravo universe itself. Reality television often blurs the line between entertainment and authenticity, so when a storyline spills into real-world legal territory, especially one presented with such intensity, viewers feel as though they're watching an unscripted plot twist unfold in real time. Fans who normally analyze friendships, shade-throwing moments, and on-camera conflicts now find themselves dissecting legal filings, statements, and news blurbs with the same energy.
Well, the Wendy stuff happened after they were filming, but I'm just like, yeah, I've got questions. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
what's your biggest question for the Wendy situation?
Well, I first would want to hear what she has to say, and then I'll have my follow-up questions. Because and it's, you know what, it's crazy is that, like, nothing even personal towards Wendy.
Yet with all the speculation, the central question remains unsettled. What is the biggest unanswered question here? For some, it's whether the authorities' confidence will truly hold once everything is tested in court. For others, it's whether Wendy's attempt to separate her case from her husband's suggests deeper fractures behind the scenes. Some fans are asking whether this situation will reshape her image entirely, not just legally but socially, academically, and culturally. And then there are viewers wondering how much the show will or won't capture, because on Bravo, timing is everything. Another layer of interest comes from how Wendy has positioned herself in past seasons. She has cultivated a reputation for being articulate, direct, and intellectually assured. She has often stepped into conflicts with the air of someone who is well-versed in debate and unafraid to take a stance. That's part of what makes the narrative so riveting for fans. They're watching someone known for projecting strength suddenly placed in a storyline where control, clarity, and precision are no longer in her hands. This sense of contrast is powerful. When someone who projects confidence is portrayed as facing a serious challenge, people naturally lean in, some out of concern, others out of curiosity, and some simply because they want to see how the story unfolds. The human psychology of scandal, whether real or perceived, is that it makes people reassess everything they thought they knew. The account also prompts questions about the durability of public personas. Wendy's on-screen identity, shaped over seasons, has been rooted in intellect and accomplishment. But narratives like this one, especially when wrapped in legal tension, can shift public perception quickly. People begin to reinterpret past behaviors, look for clues, or connect dots that may not actually be connected. Public opinion becomes a kind of collective detective, and whether fair or not, that's often how these stories evolve. Meanwhile, the show's production timeline intersects with the legal timeline in unpredictable ways. Editing choices, cast reactions, confessional interviews, all of it now looks different when filtered through the lens of these allegations, even if the story's real-life events occurred outside the camera's view. Fans begin rewatching earlier episodes, freeze-framing expressions, or reconsidering moments that once seemed trivial. The narrative becomes a living text that viewers continuously reinterpret. And tucked beneath all this is a set of emotional questions that fans rarely articulate but definitely feel. Things like, how does someone hold up under public scrutiny? What happens to a family when speculation surrounds them? How does a cast of women known for boldness respond when one of their own is caught in a storm? These questions have nothing to do with legal facts, but everything to do with the social world Bravo viewers invest in. So, as the narrative continues to unfold, people find themselves circling back to the same unresolved question: what is the truth behind the timeline, and how does it reshape everything we think we know about Wendy, the season, and the story itself? Right now, no one outside the investigation knows the full answer. And that mystery, the absence of clarity, is exactly why the conversation keeps growing. The unanswered questions, more than anything else, are driving the fascination. Some say the first step is simply hearing Wendy's side of the story. Only then, they argue, can anyone really start forming meaningful follow-up questions. The curiosity isn't even personal to Wendy herself. Most viewers insist they'd react the same way no matter who is involved. The narrative traces everything back to April of the previous year. According to the official report cited in the text, Wendy and her husband Eddie returned from a family trip to Jamaica and immediately contacted authorities, saying their home had been burglarized. Their statements described thieves making off with high-end handbags and jewelry, items they valued at around $450,000, claims they also submitted to 2 insurance companies. The moment burglary was mentioned, police launched a thorough investigation. The neighborhood where the couple lives isn't known for break-ins, which only intensified law enforcement's focus on every detail. During conversations afterward, Wendy recounted how the incident occurred just before filming resumed. Her family had been away for spring break, and discovering the alleged break-in left her shaken. She described her earliest scenes that season as unsettled because she still felt violated, overwhelmed by how unexpected the situation was. From her perspective, and from what investigators initially suggested, the incident appeared targeted, not random. She emphasized that in her decades living in that community, not once had there been a reported burglary. That history made the entire situation feel even more shocking to her. In the version of events described, the deeper investigators looked into the couple's burglary claim, the more things seemed to fall apart. Only the bedroom showed any real signs of disturbance, while the rest of the house was practically untouched. Even the window the pair reportedly said the intruders used to escape had no marks, damage, or any indication that someone had forced their way through. The toilet, supposedly stepped on by the fleeing burglars, didn't hold so much as a smudge or footprint. The couple had also set their home security system and Ring camera before leaving for vacation, according to the account. Yet throughout their entire trip, the system registered no movement inside the house at all. Aside from a few package deliveries captured on camera, there was nothing unusual. Investigators found it hard to view this as the scene of an actual break-in. To authorities, the whole situation appeared strangely calculated. Reports even claimed that some of the items listed as stolen were products the couple had allegedly purchased and returned years earlier for refunds, some dating as far back as 2018. If those allegations are true, the text suggests Wendy may have overlooked how easily such details could be traced. In the midst of all this, the narrator explains receiving a recent message from Wendy herself, one of the few people who still reaches out directly. She sent a simple, faith-leaning reassurance: God has you covered. Hearing from her like that left the narrator stunned. They describe opening their phone with no awareness of what was unfolding and being hit with a wave of disbelief. For someone who had always seemed organized, polished, and academically accomplished, Miss 4 Degrees, the entire situation felt surreal and unexpected. In the story as it was originally told, people were stunned because Wendy had always seemed so polished and put together. And with Eddie being an attorney, some wondered how any of this could have happened in the first place. Investigators, meanwhile, reportedly pointed out inconsistencies. One example mentioned in the narrative was a red carpet photo of Wendy wearing a ring she said had been stolen. Officers didn't disclose everything. They're still building their case, but they did claim they found around 15 of the supposedly stolen items inside the couple's home. With that, authorities moved forward with charges. According to the description, Wendy is facing several counts of felony insurance fraud and conspiracy, and Eddie was charged with nearly the same set of offenses. Viewers joked that Bravo seems to have a new legal scandal every year, but no one expected 2025's headline name to be Wendy, a woman known for her degrees, confidence, and high standards. When the mugshots surfaced online, the internet erupted, hungry for any additional details. Wendy, always outspoken, didn't stay silent this time either. She immediately pushed back, calling the accusations baseless and the arrest unlawful. At BravoCon, she repeated that she couldn't share much because of legal restrictions, but insisted that she looked forward to telling her side. They're just allegations, she emphasized. Her comments framed the situation as though she and her family were being unfairly targeted, but investigators weren't convinced. And then came the newest wave of information, what the text describes as the police diving into every corner of her digital and financial life. According to the narrative, they accessed emails, bank records, and even her social media accounts. One detail that surfaced was a third Gmail account unconnected to either Wendy or Eddie's names, which investigators reportedly accessed through a Google warrant. Luxury retailers Van Cleef, Louis Vuitton, Saks, and Ascot Diamonds were contacted so officers could confirm the status of the items listed as missing. Investigators also alleged that the couple had used around 40 different credit cards under names like Pam Oliver and Eddie Hennessy to hide their identities. Their spending patterns, according to bank statements in the report, were unusually high, which investigators viewed as relevant in establishing motive. Of course, the law presumes innocence until guilt is proven. But the narrative draws comparisons to Jen Shah's case, suggesting Wendy might continue to deny everything until she can't anymore. And then a question arose. If the arrests were as flawed as she claims, why are she and Eddie asking for separate trials? Some speculated that one spouse might end up taking the brunt of the blame. People pointed out that Eddie made the phone calls and sent the emails tied to the case, making him look more directly connected in the investigators' narrative. Others argued that, with young children at home, at least one parent would need to avoid a simultaneous sentence. Seeking separate trials, some said, might be strategic. Legally speaking, it can be a smart move. Separate trials allow each defendant to pursue a defense tailored to their own goals. It also improves the chances that at least one parent remains available for the children. Still, the overall picture painted by the allegations is undeniably bleak, and the online conversation has taken on a life of its own. Social media users, Bravo fans, and casual observers have been dissecting every new detail, often with harsh commentary. The internet rarely gives anyone the benefit of the doubt, and in this case, people seem even more relentless because Wendy has always carried herself with such polished confidence. When someone who projects authority and sophistication becomes the center of controversy, the reaction multiplies. Curiosity mixes with schadenfreude, shock collides with judgment, and suddenly the situation becomes a digital spectacle. People couldn't ignore the irony embedded in the narrative. Wendy had previously taken jabs at Geisel's more modest home and had critiqued other cast members for not possessing the same level of designer luxury she frequently flaunted. In the world of reality television, those comments were just typical housewife shade. But now, in light of the allegations presented in the original story, those moments have resurfaced in memes, reaction videos, and online debates. Fans have been quick to point out how strange it feels to see a woman who once emphasized status symbols being accused of inflating or securing that image through questionable means. Some commenters took it even further, suggesting that Wendy might actually be one of the least financially secure women on the cast, despite presenting herself as one of the most accomplished. They questioned whether the luxury she displayed on camera was truly a reflection of her lifestyle, or if it was part of a carefully crafted persona designed for television. Reality TV viewers can be unforgiving, especially when someone is perceived to have judged others from a place of superiority. So when a cast member's image cracks, even slightly, people rush in to pull the pieces apart. What added to the disbelief was the involvement of her husband Eddie in the allegations described in the narrative. Viewers knew him as calm, intelligent, and low-key. He rarely inserted himself into drama, and many saw him as one of the more grounded Bravo husbands. Seeing his name tied to such serious accusations left many fans stunned. It challenged the picture they'd built of the couple, one of stability, education, and outward success. The idea that a pair with strong careers and advanced degrees could be linked, even narratively, to felonies simply to maintain the appearance of luxury struck people as baffling. It didn't align with the way they had presented themselves on and off TV. According to the way the original narrative frames things, part of the reason this situation hits Wendy so hard is because of the pedestal she built for herself. She didn't just participate in the show. She crafted an identity rooted in academic achievements, cultural authority, and personal excellence. She represented herself as someone who had worked hard for everything she had, someone who valued credentials and carried herself with intellectual pride. When a person establishes an image like that, any accusation, regardless of how it plays out in the end, comes with a sharper sting. The fall feels steeper not because the accusations are proven, but because the contrast between the polished persona and the allegations is so stark. The higher someone elevates their public reputation, the harder it becomes to navigate moments where that image is challenged. And for Wendy, as portrayed in the narrative, this moment has turned into a cultural lightning rod, one that has people debating not just what happened, but what it means for her identity, her career, her family, and her future on the show. But what do you make of all this? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you in the next video.